Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Christian here, and you are tuned in for more of my 2 cents. If you are new to the channel, then welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully, you will enjoy this part of the YouTube verse. You'll click around, stick around, and join the community by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and being a part of what we do over here. I truly enjoy this platform and this journey, speaking some truth to power, sharing some knowledge, some wisdom, and experiences that I believe a lot of people don't cover here on YouTube, at least not from my perspective. All right. So get ready for a transformative journey, all right, of deconstruction and just reworking some of the thoughts, the beliefs, and the indoctrination that a lot of us have experienced throughout life. And if you are a returning two center, then hey y'all, hey, welcome back. Today's going to be a great video, one that I believe has been long in the making. I am going to do my first ever deconstruction video. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be doing this video today, you guys. But before I jump into it, let me go over my 3 points that matter most. Number one, you're not alone. Number two, you're not crazy. Number three, God, your creator, still loves you, and I do too. Oh my gosh, this video is so long coming. Okay, it is such a long time coming, and it's perfect timing. I have grown so much, I've developed so much, I've learned so much, I've healed so much. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. So, a little backstory, just a little bit of backstory. I left Christianity as an organized religion and a believer of scripture, right? I would say specifically in 2017. 2017. We had our daughter. She was christened in a church here in Frisco, Texas. And after that, we pretty much kind of like dropped off from being true church attendees. We never joined a church after we moved to Texas. We just visited a church. We visited a couple of churches. We didn't like the ones we visited that were I don't want to say the evangelical, but more of like the holiness like church. We didn't like those. We grew up in those churches, my husband and I did, and we decided to try more of the non-denominational white church, Caucasian ministries, and we ended up at Elevate Life Church under the pastoral leadership of Keith Craft. um, and it was cool because the environment was laid back and chill. He was, he was a pretty good speaker or whatever. But it was nothing deep. It was nothing that we grew up with, and it was nothing that we were used to. But it kind of scratched the itch, right? Of just feeling like we still needed to dibble and dab in church. And yeah, we were already on our transformative journey and our spiritual awakening. But 2019, the end of 2019 really kicked it off for me. My whole life went under um, a new meaning, and there was an awakening I'd never experienced before. And the catalyst for that journey and that change was an event that I actually went to at Elevate Life Church, where Terry Savelle Foy, and on this video, you guys, write down any names that I mentioned, any books that I mentioned, any videos that I mentioned, because if you feel like you're on this same journey and you're looking for resources and information that will shift and change your mind or support and give you more insight on what you're feeling, I am now a firm believer in the saying, once the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I am probably going to end up being that teacher for you right now in this season of your life where you're introduced to or exposed to information and a different perception than you've ever had or heard of before. And I'm okay with that because someone had to be that for me. And so right now on this video, I am going to share it. It might end up being a deconstruction series, which I'm totally fine with because I cannot cram everything that I went through into one video. And I get that because this journey didn't just take 1 month, 1 year, or 2 days. It has been a process, and I'm still on this journey. And I'm so open, and I'm so honest, and I'm so ready to share this experience, right? So, um, Terry Savelle Foy was at a she conference or she event that they had at Elevate Life Church. And I went to this event, and I had never really heard about manifesting. I'd never really heard about journaling. I'd never heard about scripting. I'd never heard any of these different concepts or information, let alone the mindset of truly creating what you wanted in your life. And I've been in church my whole life. My name is Christian, for crying out loud. And I have a sister called named Shekinah. So we're deep, deep in holiness, Pentecostal background, and all of that, right? And so sitting in this service, Terry Savelle Foy with her little squeaky voice, shout out to her because this teaching changed my world. She was talking about how she had pretty much, you know, willed her life into existence, even though she comes from a background with a father that had money in a ministry. She willed her life into existence, all of the things that she desired. And she didn't use those words specifically, but her efforts and her actions that she showed and described opened my mind to something I'd never experienced before or had ever been taught directly that way. So she talked about wanting to wait, did I do my 3 points that matter most? Number one, you're not alone. Number two, you're not crazy. Number three, God, your creator still loves you, and I do too. Okay. I can't remember if I did or not, but let's go. I'm too excited for this topic, y'all. So she showed us a binder that she had where she actually put her face or her picture in environments and spaces that she wanted to be in. I'd never seen anything like this before, you guys, ever, ever. Never had I seen this. Now, mind you, in 2019, my husband and I had started our company that we have right now, our manufacturing business, and we immediately saw great success and growth from that. And by the time I started this journey of spiritualism or the spiritual awakening, I had no idea that my life was about to take off the way that it would. And this is why what she showed was so important, because I was in a position to apply it immediately because I had already disconnected from church culture, but I was still going here and there because I felt like I needed to, which is when we're going to get into the deconstruction talk of what it means and why it's so important to know why you're on the journey and what you expect to get out of it. And so she showed this binder where she had put her face or her body, she had just literally copied and pasted or what is that word? Photoshopped her picture into certain settings. So like she wanted to be the oh my goodness, what do they call it? Like the pastor, or not the pastor, but like the chaplain. Thank you for bringing these words to me. The chaplain. She wanted to be the chaplain for the Dallas Cowgirls. Well, the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. So she photoshopped her image onto a picture with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Like she just was standing there awkwardly in one of their pictures because she photoshopped herself there, or she wanted to speak with Les Brown or at a Les Brown event. So she photoshopped her picture on the stage with Les Brown. She also showed some different other examples that she wanted to see come to fruition in her life. And so it was so beautiful because she showed that binder, and then on the screen behind her, she literally was able to show her speaking at several Les Brown conferences. She literally is, I don't know if she still is to this day, but at that time when I was at that event, she was the current chaplain for the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. All of that stuff that she had put into a binder or saw herself being and doing and having and achieving, she actually did achieve and have come to pass for her. And so I had never seen that concept in that way. And it started turning my mind in a way I never, had experienced. And I just was sitting with that. And I had a conversation with my husband about it, how excited I was. I came home that week. I'll never forget. I put my face. I found a store. I found all of the major stores I wanted to be in: Walmart, Target, Kroger, and put my picture in front of their stores. Right, just like me standing outside the store, because in my mind that was me saying my product will one day be in grocers. Right, and then I went a step further and I googled some images of pancake mix because that's the company that I have. I took a pictures of the pancake mix aisle, and I photoshopped our products onto those shelves. And needless to say, to date, We are in over 700 grocery stores. Our products are. And we're in the largest grocer in Texas, in HEB, as well as two major grocery stores back home in the Midwest where I'm from, Jewel Osco and Meyer. And yeah, it's just been a beautiful experience. And from thinking and believing that and seeing that and activating that faith and actually walking it out and having it to be my reality right now, I know what I can attribute that to. Learning those lessons and applying them in order for them to become my truth because my belief aligned with my emotion and, the ability to accept that as a reality. But I think furthermore than anything, what it also unlocked in me was the questioning. Why has things gone this way for me? Why is it easier for me to apply, to accept this information and apply it and get results from it versus all of the people I've grown up with over all of these years and they've never seen anything they've prayed for, fasted for, asked for, shouted for, cried for, spoken tongues for, ran around the church for, sold for, come to pass. The thing about knowledge and information is that once it's applied to you, if you are a critical thinker, if you don't just take things at surface and face value, once truth is given, it is difficult for you to accept or excuse a lie. Once truth is given, it is difficult for you to accept or excuse a lie. You have to force yourself to continue to believe what you have been believing that has not been serving you. You have to stick with it because either A, you feel like everything in your life crumbles because this is all I've been standing on, or B, it would make you have to reconsider that what you have been standing on and believing was never true in the first place. And that hurts. That's a hurtful standpoint because you'll feel like you've wasted all of your time believing this one thing. But what I had on my side was the fact that I've never failed for anything that anyone else told me. I accepted what I wanted to accept. I allowed it to work for me the way that I wanted it to work for me. I never accepted it from a standpoint of if I don't have this, it's because God doesn't want me to have it. No, I want it and I'm getting it. And I'm a believer. The end. So my thought process about how I was given Christianity has always been different because of my character as a person. I've never just been a run over individual where I just take what's given. I always get what I want. So me being a Christian, because that's the religion I was born into, the household I was born into, it just, I mean, it just kind of melted into my personality, period. But I wasn't the person that my mother was or that my mother is as a Christian. So personal, characteristics and background and values do matter depending on what your personality traits are, what your confidence level is, and what your expectations are for what you're believing. And depending on the kind of person you are, that also shows forth in your friendships, in your intimate relationships, your finances. All of that stuff is affected by the person that you are, as well as your religion and your beliefs. But for me, I've always kind of had like I don't want to say stubbornness, but I am the kind of person that I believe what I can prove. I don't believe it just because you told me so, right? So I take what I need, I apply it, I get what I want, and I move on from it. And so, church growing up for me wasn't, I was afraid of the things I didn't understand, but the things that I did understand, I just knew them and I moved on from them. They didn't hold me hostage completely until I was an adult and chose salvation and church culture. As a child, I was just in church because my mama made me go. I didn't understand the rapture. I didn't understand communion. I didn't understand shouting and receiving the Holy Ghost or speaking in tongues. And I feared all of those things. And then as I became an adult and went to church on my own recognizance with my husband, I decided to ignore the rapture, still take communion, speak in tongues because I thought that's what I was supposed to be doing, right? And shouting because it was an emotional experience. So I literally have always been the definition of chew the meat, spit out the bones. And it worked in my favor when I was introduced to the concept that Terry Savelle Foy introduced because I wanted what she was demonstrating to work for me. I knew that I could unlock that in my mind because I'd done it before. I started going through instances and occurrences where I had already done what she showed us, but not in that exact way. I'd already made what I wanted to be come to pass in my life. I'd already created certain opportunities with my mind before I even knew that you could do what she showed. And I was okay with that, but I decided to grow and expand that. And that's when more doors of information, more people came and started sharing things. I'm like, wow. Like my sister, for instance, we went on a spa day and we're sitting there and we're talking, and she just starts telling me stuff that literally coincides with what I just heard from Terry Savelle Foy a weekend ago. And I'm like, look, Toya, Toya, how, like, it was crazy to me. I'm like, this girl is literally sitting here talking to me about stuff that we've never talked about before. Me and my sister are 10 years apart, but we're like the closest of our four siblings. I'm the baby of the family. I'm the fourth child. She's the first one, but we're the closest in relationship, but the farthest apart in age. And she's sharing things with me that she's been believing, that she's been practicing. And I never knew this. We grew up in the same household with the same mothers, the same beliefs, the same practices. But she's now talking to me about her spiritual awakening and deconstruction journey that I never knew she was on. This is why it's important, and you should watch the documentary, The Secret, because at first, when I watched that documentary, I was like, this is awesome. Just hearing the different people speak and share their experiences and the mindset and all of that, the awakening. I then came to understand why that was called The Secret. I then started to understand why most people's journey spiritually is a secret. They don't tell people around them. They don't tell their family, their friends, their loved ones, or strangers because people would think they were crazy. Everybody's not ready for where you're going because they've never been. Everybody's not ready for the switch and the change and the transformation you're experiencing because they're not free enough to understand. They're not free enough to understand, and that's okay. You just have to be okay with it. They're okay because they're safe where they are. You are going to be the one that wants to share it and talk about it and expound upon it and ask questions, and you're not going to find those people. And that's actually a sign that you're doing exactly what you need to do, because if you were to introduce their resistance to your freedom, you would stay bound longer. You would stop searching. You would quit asking because you don't want to seem crazy. That's why my 3 points that matter most matters. You're not alone. You're not crazy, and God, your creator, still loves you. If you don't want to call it God, don't. It can be the universe, it could be your savior, it could be source, it could be an all-powerful being. Whatever you choose to call God is your business. Because at this point, I'm starting to understand, well, not starting, I've come to understand that we all feel restricted to say what we've heard because that's all we've ever heard. We feel like if we don't call it what it has always been called, we're doing something wrong. I need you to know that just because I refer to it as God, because it is not a person. Let's be clear. I've said this in several videos. When I call God it, I'm not being rude. It's not a he or a she. But you've heard it enough. You've heard he with the capital H so much that you feel like to refer to it any other way is disrespectful. It's not. It's just a trained thought. It's a belief, which is simply a thought that you continue to think and accept as true. It doesn't make you wrong and it doesn't make me right. It just makes us have different beliefs about what it is we both are describing. And that's okay. So when I share information on this platform, when I talk from a perspective of experience, it is not one that wants you to convert and believe the way that I do. It's one that wants you to critically assess and accept that we don't all think and believe the same. And that's okay. We were never told it was okay to have spiritual autonomy. We were never told that it was okay to not agree with everybody around you. Quite the contrary. If you don't believe the way everybody else does around you, you're going to be shunned. You're going to be outcast. You're going to be demonic in the spirit, which makes you question everything about who you are versus everything about someone else has told you. You should be questioning external resources in information. You shouldn't be questioning your God given unction to discern. We are living in a time where people are literally out here being cut off from their own discernment because people get so upset with them for questioning what they're telling them. How you gonna be mad at me because I don't believe what you just said? I want to go and understand it for myself before I accept it as true. That pisses people off, y'all. It does. And shout out to social media now for giving so many people an outlet to express themselves and question things. We're not just following the herd and aligning in groupthink. There is still mass consciousness about a lot of things in society, which doesn't help. But for the most part, a lot of us are literally out here okay with not believing what everybody else believes, and we keep it to ourselves. Hashtag the secret. Believe what you want, but leave me alone. Question all the theories you please, but don't ask me for my 2 cents. Because if I start, I'm not backing down. And more than likely, you're going to be the one that feels dumb when we're done talking. Because my question to you is going to be, how do you know that to be true? Have you seen it? Have you experienced it? Who told you that? When did you see that with your eyes? How many times has that been altered, changed, and revised? Which version do you believe? Because there were several hundred more before you got the one that you're reading. Why do you need to cross-reference all of these different points of context if y'all have the same belief and faith? What is the foundation in the infrastructure? Who handed it to you? How certain are they? Who gave it to them? What context, emotion, and value system was applied when they got it? And in what spirit, knowledge, wisdom, and truth and understanding did they deliver it to you? Religion, specifically Christianity, because that's what I deconstructed from, is like a game of telephone. The message starts one way and is conveyed differently every single time it is translated or delivered to another person by the previous person. A little more is added, a little more is taken away. And by the time it gets to the 100,000 person, it ain't nothing like it was in the beginning. And that's how you should look at the Bible. It is nothing like it was in the beginning. It has been altered. Some has been taken, some has been added for different purposes every single century, every single decade, whatever. Everybody's always adding something and taking something away. You see that every Sunday and every week in these clips when pastors are preaching and people are like, that ain't scripturally in context. Give me the book, chapter, and verse where you got that. How are y'all literally tussling about the same thing that y'all are all reading? You telling me that the Holy Spirit is not falling on y'all while y'all all reading it and giving y'all the same revelation about it? That this pastor is getting a different revelation about the same text that another pastor is reading and getting a different revelation concerning? That's confusion, which y'all claim God is not the author of, but y'all continue to be the conduit for which confusion flows through. Different addresses, different churches, different buildings, different cities, different states. And none of y'all can actually agree on the one thing that is meant to connect you, and that's your faith. Somebody should be concerned. And that's why I left it alone. So me and my sister are sitting here, and she's sharing this information with me, and that's when I knew I'm on the path I'm supposed to be on. Because as much as I talk to my sister, as close as we are, she's never told me her beliefs, her new beliefs, and why she's not in church. And here I am going through this same thing. But when I explained to her what I had experienced, I'm assuming that it unlocked in her and says she's ready. Share with her what your journey has been. Share with her what your knowledge is. And what did I do with what my sister shared? I took it further than what she even had done. I went deeper than even the work that she had done. Because that's how this works. When you share something to someone, think about it even in terms as racing, right? When you see people running track, and they have the baton and they pass it on to the next person, that person runs harder and faster in order to either pass that baton on to someone else or to finish the race stronger. And the person that passed it on to them rests. The person that passed it on to them gets their breath, right? Think about this. When information is translated and is shared, that person doesn't get upset because you took it and you ran with it. That person feels great, like this is good. This is working for you. This is benefiting you. I love to see it. There's not one person I've trained. There's not one person I've coached. There's not one person I've mentored That if they do something and excel beyond me, I'm upset about it. You know how sick you have to be to feel that way about truth and wisdom being accepted and applied? You're the source of that truth and that wisdom. Why would you be offended by someone taking it and growing from it? You had to grow to the point that you were to even be able to convey it in a way that it could be applied and understood, or understood and applied. And then to go the step further and benefited from. You're the source of that. Why would you be offended? If you're offended by someone growing after they learn from you, you have a lack mindset. Because everything around me needs to be growing. Everything around me needs to match my energy. And that is one of abundance, that is one of clarity, that is one of peace, and that is one of greatness. And I need to see that happening from the seeds I'm sowing in my children, the seeds I'm sowing in my marriage, the seeds I'm sowing in my business, in my friendships. If this stuff is not thriving, flourishing, and growing, I am the problem. Something in my roots are not right. So she shared her knowledge with me. I took it and I ran with it. My life has never been the same since September of 2019. From that she conference event with Terry Savelle Foy to that day in the hot tub with my sister, and the next day finding a guy here on YouTube called Soul Immortal. And from there, my sister and I going to Oprah Winfrey's event that she had. She was on tour early 2020, and her guest was what's her name? Pattern Beauty. I like her. She's so funny. Tracy Ellis Ross was her guest, and my sister and I went to that event. Blew my mind, opened my mind even more. It was like I was in a transition where doors were opening for me every single week. More information was coming to me. More resources were coming. More messages were being delivered to me. That I was on the path and I was learning so much, and it was like I was a sponge and I was soaking it up and I was applying it and I was getting results instantly that I'd never gotten when I was in church. The things that I was seeing, that I was reading, I was open to receiving it and applying it and getting results from it without crying out, without fasting, without praying, without spitting, without shouting, without speaking in tongues. And that's when my mind started becoming more and more open, and I started questioning more and more. I was already separated from church, but now I knew I had a purpose in my separation from the organization. What are you? You can separate yourself from things and do nothing. Or you can separate yourself from things, question everything, learn something new, and benefit from that. And that's what I decided to do. I didn't just want to quit church and talk bad about everybody there in my experiences. I wanted to grow. What can replace this? Because this is not working. These people have problems. I'm able to notice that, and this is not normal. You should be happy at church. You should have peace in church. You should be thriving, growing, and it should be pouring out. It should be seeping from your pores. If you're in church as much as my mother has been, my family, friends, all of these people, what the world is going on for us to have been in church this long and to have never seen, felt, and tasted the goodness? Come on now. I started questioning everything because nothing seemed to be working for the people I knew. And that's when the question became either God is not real or they don't believe. It's one or the two. Either the beliefs are off or the source they're believing in ain't good enough. And that's not wrong to believe that, but religion will make you think that even questioning God is sinful. And I had to even overcome that in my deconstruction journey. So that is my background of how I even came to the deconstruction space, leaving church in 2017, still going here and there and ending up at this service in 2019, opening my mind and applying different things that I learned. And then from there, going on a transformative journey that unlocked so many other doors that my life could never go back. You could never pay me to sit in a Sunday service again. You couldn't. If I did, I would have on AirPods. I would be there to support somebody else, but I wouldn't be there to receive anything from somebody because they're even teaching from a tainted point of view. from a limited point of view. They're only relying on scripture when there is so much more beyond that book that allows you to truly have freedom and to truly give information from a place that helps people to grow. In my opinion, the scripture allows people to stay stagnant because they keep rereading the same thing and never applying anything new. They don't open themselves up to anything new. The only thing they open themselves up to are new men and women of God who play on their tops. They'll read a new book from T.D. Jakes. They'll read a new book from Joel Osteen. They'll read a new book from a pastor, but they won't step outside of these voices who have a vested interest in them only believing in them. Those book sales matter. They benefit from that because more than likely they got an advancement on that from their publishing house. They need those books to sell. They don't care if you actually read it or get anything from it. So you keep on stockpiling information from tainted sources that only care about their end goal, but you get no information that truly opens you up to the next level of what your human experience is meant to be. Right? This is not meant to just be a fight. Nobody's meant to be here to struggle every day. And that's what I believe Christianity or organized religion in general presents: struggle. Always fighting to maintain your posture before God. Always struggling to maintain and be good enough and pleasing. Chasing after, I don't want to chase nobody for nothing. I'm not chasing my man, baby. I ain't even chasing my kids. I don't play games. Don't take me to the park because I'm sitting on a bench. We ain't doing no hide and go seek. It's hot in Texas. Catch me at the snow cone truck. I'm not chasing nothing and no one for nothing. It's not that deep because everything I need is inside of me, and nobody at church is going to tell you that. Everything is going to be external because the more you give your power away, the less power you have and the more games they can play. So first is going to come separation before deconstruction can even happen. I don't believe people deconstruct as soon as they leave church. I believe people start deconstructing while they're in church, but first they have to separate in order to truly understand the power of the deconstruction. Because you can stop listening, but you can still believe. And that's what I did. I had stopped listening to pastors, but I still had beliefs that were tainted and were not serving me. I had to get out of it, get cleansed and purged from it, stop hearing it. Don't even let it in a little bit. Nobody's voice. I had to mute everybody's voice. I didn't keep listening to certain sermons. I didn't pick up a new motivational speaker that I liked. I muted everyone but myself. I don't want to be muted. I was muted for too long. I was leaning in and depending on too many other people's voices for too long. My mama's voice as a child. You grow up, you start going to church and you start taking on other pastors and first ladies' voices and mannerisms and beliefs and values and perception. And then you start looking through their lens for your life. That don't work. If I don't need glasses, but you wear glasses and you got astigmatism on your eyes, what does that serve me if I'm looking through your glasses? I don't need your glasses. But now I'm looking through your glasses for my life. My sight is tainted. My vision might actually be impaired because there is actually prescription in those to help you see. But now, here, my 2020 vision ass sitting up looking through your glasses with blurred vision. They were never meant for me. I was never meant to see it the way that you do. Those glasses help you. They hinder me. Woo-hoo-hoo! There are people sitting up right now, listening to people say things that weren't even meant for them to hear. That ain't meant to be your lot in life. That's not meant to be the sermon or the word released over you, but you sitting up eating from that table, drinking from their cup, and confused about when you get sick. Confused about when you broke, confused about when you depressed, confused about when you're hurt, when you feel isolated and alone, not good enough. You're eating things that aren't good for you. You're drinking from a cup that is poison for you. And what are we confused about? How could you be confused about that? That was never a source for you to actually grow from, be sustained from. thrive from. Check it. Check the table, check the cook, check the ingredients, and leave that book. Y'all ain't ready for this. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready. What was meant to help someone else is actually a hindrance for others. Your glasses are not for me. You can have those back. I'm going to look through the lens of my own life. I'm going to let my experiences be my greatest teacher because words do not teach, experience does. And a lot of us have a lot of life experience that we've ignored and swept under the rug because people in church have told you to leave that in your past. That don't mean nothing. No, that was meant to help you. That was meant to guide you. You weren't meant to hide that and bury that and move on from that. You were meant to learn, grow, share, and increase from that. I've learned every lesson I needed to. I can run down every situation that has made me the person I am today. And I am grateful. I'm not bitter. I'm not hurt. I'm not broken. I don't want to hide nothing that I've gone through. I can recount it just like as if it had just happened. Not because I'm hurt from it, but because I'm healed. I'm whole. And I'm ready to tell my story for those who need to learn and do the same. There is power. There is power in knowing who you are. And there is even more power in letting other people know they cannot have your power. Find you somebody else to play with. Get you a stack of Uno cards. Get you some dominoes. I'm not the one. Like I've been saying lately, you may know me. I may be someone you know, but I'm not someone you can play with. Okay. All right. So my sister and I went to the Oprah event. It was life changing. I enjoyed it immensely. I'm not an Oprah fan at all like that, but I enjoyed the experience. I enjoyed being in the environment. I never felt anything as peaceful, as calming, as connected as I had that. I never felt anything like that in a church service, in a convention. Nothing. It was a beautiful, beautiful gathering of, I'm sure, over 5,000 people in the American Airlines arena here or center here in Dallas. And I was so grateful for that experience. It definitely changed my mind a lot. And it helped me for the next level that I was getting ready to unlock because it was truly powerful. That event was in January. By March, um, my company had gone viral, and we received an endorsement from Tabitha Brown. By May, I received an email from ABC to be on Good Morning America. My company literally sold $500,000 worth of products in one day after making $7,000 the previous year in business. You heard what I said. Literally, life took off for me after I was okay with applying what I learned, but I applied it from a standpoint of not having a lack mindset and not feeling as if though I was undeserving of it based off of what my beliefs were and what I had left behind. And so these things can and will serve you as long as you're open to understanding that you do deserve it, and what you have been given was from a perspective of someone who wanted you to chase what was meant for you versus just accepting what is already yours. And I don't live from that perspective at all. So the catalyst for a lot of things that shifted and changed after those events, like with my sister, the Terry Savelle Foy was reading Conversations with God. I can never explain that. I'm actually getting ready to reread the book now. I can never explain what that book did for me, but I could tell you that I cried just about every time I read the book. I shook my head so much reading the book. There were so many times I had to reread whole pages of the book because it was so deep that even if even if you don't believe that that is a true conversation with God between the author and the revealing of answers that was coming, all of it made sense to me. All of it made sense to me. All of it brought so much into perspective that I was willing to accept it, even for in that moment, to know you are not missing anything by not being attached to that thing anymore. You're not missing anything. You're going to continue to walk in a path that unlocks truth for you, that serves you and where you are. And in those seasons of downtime where there's no new information and there are no fresh revelations, be okay with that because you have enough in you to sustain you for what you're going through. That's not what you're taught in church. They want you to keep feeding yourself and feeding yourself and feeding yourself and beating yourself down. Get in the word, consecrate yourself, meditate on him, fast, pray, do this. They want you to keep doing stuff, all of these practices instead of being still. Be still. I saw something online the other day where someone asked, what do you do when you don't feel like praying or reading your scripture? Like, how do you overcome that? And I almost commented and said, nothing. I'm sure you've read and prayed enough. Be still. Be still. If you've just ate, why would you get up from the restaurant and then head to McDonald's? If you're full, why would you go and put more food on top of it to make yourself sick? Now, what you've learned, what you've read, and what you've already taken in is ineffective. Why would you go back to school to get a degree in the same thing you already have a degree in? Be still and know everything you've done is good enough. Everything you've read is good enough. Everything you've prayed is good enough. Let it work for you. People don't want to do that. People don't want to do that. So we're 40 minutes in. My God, my God. Thought there's going to be a little backstory, but let me go ahead and get to the definition of what deconstruction is, and then I'm going to give you guys an example of what I've recently encountered and how I'm even more confident to share my truth of deconstruction, even with people I know, personally, being able to see my stance publicly. This platform is public, but I don't know how many people that I know have found this channel or watch any of my videos. I don't care, but I never share this channel with anyone publicly on any of my public profiles. I'm not really that active on social media anyway, so I don't post my videos. I don't tell people to come watch my videos, check me out on YouTube. I don't do none of that. I let everybody who's meant to find my content find it organically and naturally. I don't push or pry for people to comment, like. I don't care if you comment on my videos. I understand we're all privately on our own journey, and I know who's meant to find this content will. I know that who is meant to help, it will help. I know those is meant to guide will be guided, and I'm okay with that because this is a verbal journal for me. And I listen to my own videos sometimes, and I'm encouraged. I'll be like, yes, girl, you said that. And I understand that it's a higher consciousness 99% of the time that's speaking in these videos because I don't have notes. Okay? I don't get on here with notes of what I'm going to say. I understand the thoughts that I want to convey. And when they come out, they're clear to all of those who are meant to hear them, receive them, apply them, and be encouraged by them. All right? So here's the definition of deconstruction. It's a process of personal religious re-examination. So for all of those who are so anti-deconstruction as if though it's bad, it's not. It's actually you being open to reviewing and assessing religion, your personal religious experience and beliefs. People who deconstruct have described destabilizing feelings of anxiety, guilt, anger, confusion, and fear, as well as curiosity, awe, and liberation. Baby, I felt all of those feelings. The destabilizing feelings, those purging feelings of anxiety. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? Oh my goodness, I should be doing this. I should be at church. The amount of time it took for me to go somewhere on a Sunday, because I felt as if though if I wasn't at church, I shouldn't be out. But girl, you left church, so you should definitely be outside. No, no, no. I'm not at church, but I shouldn't be out just doing what I want to do on Sundays either. Not until 2 or 3, when everybody else is out of church. Even though nobody knows you're not at church today, nobody's checking for you or what you're doing, but your mind, the guilt, the anger, once you start processing it of what people have told you or what people have done to you in these environments and how long you put up with it and you allowed it, that brings anger. The confusion. Why would I stay so long? Why is this happening? What is true? What is not? Who can I run to? Shout out to escape. You're confused. Fear. What's going to happen to me? Am I going to hell for questioning God? Is this a sin for me not to be doing this? Am I uncovered and open for the devil to attack me? There are so many feelings when you are getting away. A lot of people say, like when you have withdrawals, if you've been on drugs or anything like that, that people go through. And when they're detoxing, it's like that from church. You detox. Your body literally goes through a myriad of emotions that you can't truly explain or describe, and makes you want to go back to it because you feel like, oh my God, this is wrong. No, that ain't conviction. That's bondage. That's fear. That's you literally going back and getting your chains and putting them back on. Nobody is watching you. Nobody's trying to capture you and put you back in chains. You go get your chains and put them back on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what happens. If you are not in a good enough place mentally, emotionally, with a good community of support, you'll go back. Oh, yes, you will. You'll backslide. You'll do backslide the other way. In church, they say you backslide when you go in the world. You'll get out of church and backslide into church because you'll feel lonely and separated and isolated. That's a real emotion when people are like, I miss church, I miss the community. You didn't have friends in there anyway. Have you heard from those people since you left? Oh, okay. And then you have the curiosity where you're questioning everything. You feel more comfortable with asking. The awe of the new information and the truth and the revelations that make you feel like, I never knew that. I never heard that before. I never thought that. I never felt that. You'll feel that. You'll feel all of that. And then uh, the liberation, the freedom, where you can do cartwheels on a Sunday. Maybe when I tell you I be down to, we was just at the zoo this past Sunday. Woke up early. Cause I got kids. I got a 7 and a 9-year old. They be up early. We was at this house by 9 o'clock. We could have went to church. We could have went to a service and then went to the zoo after. Negative. Okay. We got our bottles. We got our water spray, a little fan sprayer. We was outside while people was in church in dark rooms with smoke and colors flashing up on the screen. I don't have time for that. I'm going to go enjoy my family. I've gone to church for over 20 something years. Why am I spending the next 20, 30, 40, 50 on Sundays as well in there with people who have not changed, have no respect? They are literally so disconnected from reality and themselves. I'm not gathering with you. I'm going to enjoy my family that God has given me, that God has blessed me with, my whole home and unit that I am grateful for. I get 7 days a week with my family. I am not separating or isolating myself any days of those weeks to play with people and have people play with me. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. I choose me, and I'm okay with that. As an open-ended process, the outcome of deconstruction is uncertain. This is true. You never know if that'll just lead you to not believing anything at all, or if it will allow you to just change and switch your beliefs in general. You questioning a lot of the things. Do I believe Satan is real? Which is actually about to be the thread that I'm going to get into, that I kind of, delved into online this week. And is Satan real? How much of the Bible is real? If Adam and Eve were the only two people on earth and then their sons, you know it's just a lot. Cain and Abel, if they one killed the other, then where did the earth population come from? And then you got all these people that's like, you didn't read all of the Bible because there was other people on the earth then. Well, why the Bible didn't talk about them too? Why did the Bible have us thinking it was just these 4 people here first? Lord, did they sleep with Eve? Did Eve sleep with her son? What is going on? Was Eve a grandmother and a mother? What the hell? To her kids? See, this the stuff. And then people in church literally want you to be confused, but then we'll talk to you like you're crazy for not doing more in-depth research. Y'all the ones up there with the microphone, break it all down. Stop preaching the scriptures you want to preach every week and give us a full breakdown of scripture, of the Bible. Because right now there are a lot of more questions than there is clarity sitting up in church. But I digress. So, knowing what you know about my deconstruction journey and what the definition of deconstructing from Christianity is, it is a personal religious reexamination. You're literally just reexamining your beliefs, where they come from, what they do for you, how they make you feel. Do you believe them? That's it. You're questioning if what you were taught is true. And if it serves you, it doesn't make you wrong, but it doesn't make everything you learned right. And it's okay for you to ask. It's okay for what was given to you to not be good enough for you. If you give me something that I don't want to eat, It's okay for me to say, no, thank you. I don't eat that. I don't want that. That doesn't taste good to me. You shouldn't get offended. You eat it. You enjoy it. It's more for you. You shouldn't be mad at me. I'm taking less food off of your table. But that's not how people feel. People get pissed when you don't choose what they choose for you. I don't want that. Don't go shopping for me because you're going to have to return it. I may not like what you like. I may not feel comfortable and confident in what you pick out for me. That doesn't mean I have to be miserable and sit with it because it makes you feel good. That's why I don't believe in the concept of sharing and teaching kids to share as kids. If my son does not want to share his dinosaurs with his sister, I'm not going to make him. That doesn't make him happy. That's his. Why should he be forced to share it with you? You go find something that you like that makes you happy. And if you want dinosaurs, we'll buy you some of your own. But you're not going to make him sad by taking something that's his because I feel like you all should be even. That's weird. You're two separate people. Beliefs do not have to serve everybody, just the person who accepts them. So stop trying to make everybody eat from your table if they're vegetarian and they don't like what you're serving. And this one just so happens to be a man on a cross. So let's get into this. I was on Threads this week and I saw someone ask this question. They said, why did God make Lucifer? I responded, the better question is, why did God give free will and then punish Lucifer for exercising it? Because this is a true question, you guys, and this is one part of my belief, which makes me think that I am going to do a series on what I do and don't believe. We only have 9 more minutes. I really don't want this video to be an hour, but we're already there. So let's go in. I'm going to do a deconstruction series on a lot of different beliefs and what my beliefs are specifically. And just, they're going to be thought-provoking videos for sure to help you question. But that is a question of mine. Why would God give free will and then punish us for exercising it? That makes no sense. There were a lot of different responses to my question. And there were a lot of different, comments explaining it. And I'm like, y'all are just still full of it. Why did God make Lucifer? Why would you create your arch nemesis? Even if it started out being the most beautiful angel made of organs and music and all of this, why would you create what you know is going to eventually go against you and try to overthrow you? That makes no sense, you guys. I don't believe the story at all, just so we're clear here. I don't believe Lucifer. I don't believe the story or anything like that because it sounds like a Disney movie fairy tale. Why would you give birth to or create what's going to eventually grow up and unalive you? And you know it, but you're like, I'm just going to go through with it because I just want to see if he's going to do it. You know it's going to do it. If you're an infinite, powerful being, why would you create what's going to try to take you down? No sense. It makes no sense, but it makes perfect sense to have to create a story and a narrative for eternal damnation, just as you created a story for eternal life. In any book, you have to have an intro, you have to have a savior, and you have to have a villain. You have to have someone that doesn't win in the end because they went against the good side. So this is how you create that. How did hell come to be? It started way before anybody else was here. It started in heaven. Drama started all the way in heaven before we even got here. And God had to throw Satan and his minions down to the hell underneath and condemn them. Why did you restart with Adam and Eve then? At this point, God actually has 3 creation stories. The first one in heaven with Lucifer and his gang. The second one with Adam and Eve. The third one with Noah. Why are we playing these games? But y'all ain't ready. Beliefs. This is what deconstruction allows you to do. Ask questions. Question what you were told. It doesn't make them wrong and it doesn't make you right, but it gives you the freedom to ask. I don't believe it. Next thing, someone said, so he should not punish Lucifer for trying to take him down. Do y'all even think with the brain? And so I commented, this person commented to me with this question. And I said, you do know that in order for me or anyone else to accept your theory as correct, we'd have to first believe any of this is true. So you now coming up and saying that God punished Lucifer for trying to take him down. Y'all are running with the story and the narrative that you don't even know if it's real. You have to accept this allegorical story as true so that you can hold on to the rest of the Bible as true. This probably didn't happen. And I'm saying probably because I'm open to it having happened or not. It doesn't matter either way. I wasn't there for it. It doesn't affect me. But what I'm saying is you're talking to me as if though asking a question of why did free will exist? Why did free will exist if you're only going to punish him for using it? He didn't want to follow you no more. He wanted your spot. Now you finna condemn him, but you gave him the freedom to choose. If you didn't want him to choose, you would have just made him perfect and him never choosing or having the choice or ability to go against you. You would have just controlled his mind from the beginning, made him perfect, and allowed him to only serve you and never have the ability to go a different way. If I programmed a new child, I would program a child that stays the age 2 forever. I like 2-year-olds. They're cute. Some people may think I'm crazy. My 2-year-olds were adorable, and no, not my son. Never mind. He was a terrorist. The girl, she could be 2 forever. If you get to choose how somebody moves in your life, you would not choose to give them the freedom to hurt you, to lie to you, to manipulate you, to use you, to abuse you, take advantage of you, leave you. You would create a perfect being that could never disappoint. Why would God create beings that could disappoint it? This is what deconstruction is. Why would you create something that could hurt you unless you don't really care? And that's what Conversations with God is about. That opened my mind to God does not care about what you choose to do. It doesn't. It gave you the freedom to choose. If God could or wanted to intervene, it could. But it chooses not to, which means it's okay with the right or the wrong, with the good or the evil happening. That's hard for some of us to accept, but I accept it. God is not coming down and stopping any of this war, any of these health issues, the unaliving or harming of children and innocent people. God is not interested in stopping it. It's allowing it because you're the God of this earth. You get to choose what happens and unfolds on this earth. Humans that do vile, evil things are the choosers and the creators of chaos. And there's nothing going to come in between and stop it. Nothing. You choose. You choose to be good. You choose to be bad. You choose to do right. You choose to do wrong. You choose. Nothing's coming in between and intervening. As sad as it is, or exciting as it is for the good side, and as sad as it is for the bad side, it's real. We all have demonstrations of this being true. So then you have to question God's true position. It is not to save you. You believe there's salvation in God. God just is. Source is just source. You got what you got. Use it to your best ability or abuse it for your own, reasons. I'm okay with knowing that. That's why I move accordingly. I mind my business and I do what serves me. So this person says, so you don't believe? And I said, in Lucifer? No, I don't. I do believe the story supports the intention to demonstrate what happens to those who rebel. And there had to be a story of how he came to be or how hell came to be. Just as earth had a creation story, eternal damnation had to have one too. It works for who it works for. Everybody needs a narrative to push. You can't get to the end of eternity without there being a place for everybody to go. When you use GPS, it's because you have to put an end destination. My God, that's a word. If you caught it, I don't know. Next, he said, do you believe in Jesus Christ? I said, I have come to a different belief of Jesus and his perfect purpose in Christianity versus what I was taught or indoctrinated to believe about him. My belief in his love and power is inspiration to walk in and operate in those same callings rather than demonstrate and be captive to the opposites, fear and weakness. So for me, I'm not one that's holding on to Jesus being the Son of God, born of a virgin, and coming here to take on the sins of the world, only for that sacrifice to seem to have been in vain because you're still sending people to hell. Why would you create a perfect being, subject him to death for people that he never met. He died for the sins of the world, but then people have to be born and still choose to follow him. If he died for everybody's sins, why is there now a new standard or condition on all of these people's lives? He died for nothing then. His death was conditional upon them choosing him with the free will you gave. Okay, y'all ain't ready. Next up, what do you think is the purpose of life based on God in the Bible? Now, at this point, I was like, Lord, am I having a conversation with God? Because these questions were giving very conversation with God-ish. Like, if y'all read the book, this is like how the questions were posed by the writer and the responses were given by God. And this person was asking really good questions. And I was okay with that because I felt as if though he was trying to actually get an understanding of how I felt versus just writing me off as a non-believer or a atheist, which I'm neither. I just don't believe what I was indoctrinated into. I believe something. I just don't believe everything. And I don't believe anything that someone told me. I believe everything that I've come to find out for myself that serves me and gives me peace about my existence on this earth. I don't have time to feel like I'm behind an 8 ball every time that I wake up. That don't feel good. So, yeah, I'm very conscious of that. So I said, not so much based on the Bible, because it is a man written manual that we cannot prove is irrefutable. But based on my belief in God, I believe our purpose in life is to learn from those who came before us, create what's needed now in our time, and to use the power we were given instead of giving it away. The power of choice, freedom, peace, creation, reproduction, evolution, etc. All belongs to mankind and starts from our minds. Whoever controls that controls you. Y'all, those are simply my beliefs. I am not here to fight. I am not here to cry. I am not here to struggle. I am not here just to get by. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to lack. I'm not here to manipulate, seek revenge, or get back. I want peace. I don't want peace. I have peace. I have clarity. I have freedom. I have options. I am evolving. I am a creator. I don't have time for any of this other stuff. True unbotheredness is existing in peace that is not disturbed by other people's anger, by other people's, I don't want to say thirstiness, but need to be accepted. I don't care if you don't accept me. I'm minding my business. I'm taking care of my family. I'm taking care of myself. I'm not causing issues for anybody else. And if your life begins to disturb other people, it's because their peace is not where it needs to be. My mind is really clear now about a lot of things because I've experienced a lot of things that did make sense at the time, but I always navigated them with an end goal in mind of me being at peace. I will let you go before I let you piss me off. I will cut you off before I let you question my own value. I will confront you when you believe that you're going to upset and throw me off. I'm going to go ahead and let you know you didn't get away with what you did. I'm going to leave you alone after this. Let's be clear. You don't exist anymore after we talk. But I'm going to make you aware of what I know you've been doing so you don't keep going thinking nobody's aware of who you are and how you operate. Perfect? I am not. I'm not perfect. But I walk in purpose. And you cannot be around me if you do not. You cannot be in church and think that that's okay. That makes you safe. If anything, it makes you more of a red flag if you go to church. And I know you. Because I know you don't know truth. I know that you're easily manipulated and controlled. I know that you're not living for yourself, you're living for someone else. And I don't mean God. I know that you're a people pleaser. I know that you are a herd follower. I know that you are not a critical thinker. I know that at some point you will try to convert me before you respect me and ask me questions about what I believe. I know that you probably think I'm the one that needs to be saved, but you're the one that's truly in bondage. It's okay for everyone not to believe like you. It's okay for everybody to not see God the way that you do. It's okay for everybody not to use the Bible as a guide for life. That's okay. That doesn't make me wrong and it doesn't make you right. We can still be friends and we can still do life, but you will respect me and whatever my beliefs are, as I am not imposing them on you. I am free. You are too. We are free enough to choose bondage. That's from Abraham Hicks. Check her out, or them. Check them out. Deep, deep, deep. I look forward to keeping this deconstruction series going, deconstructing a lot of different things, a lot of different beliefs on a lot of, um, different thought processes and mindsets. What is my deconstructed belief on fasting? What is my deconstructed belief on prayer? What is my deconstructed belief on communion? What is my deconstructed belief? I mean, there are just so many different beliefs in church, in religion. What's my deconstructed belief on attending church? What's my deconstructed belief on speaking in tongues? These are beliefs that you have to literally pull apart and ask yourself, what do I think about this? And why do I think it? So I don't believe that children should be forced into religion because their minds are not developed, they're not choosing it, and they don't even know what it is they're being indoctrinated into. And they grow up and they're ignorant adults concerning their religion as well. As it relates to Christianity, I can't speak to any other religion or how they break it down to children or how involved children are in the learning process of it, but I can just speak for myself and my own experiences, and wasn't nobody talking to me about nothing at home. We were in those services watching stuff unfold, taking context clues, and then turning around and doing it ourselves when we got older. That's why I hate seeing little kids fake shouting. I hate seeing little kids crying out. They're not crying out, they're literally doing what they've seen done. I have a 7 and a 9-year-old that does it right now as it relates to YouTube videos, commercials. They're literally little mirrors. They're going to do whatever they've seen done. That's not deep. A 5 or 4-year-old does not have a calling on their lives to be a pastor. You have to stop. You have to let a 4 and 5-year-old be a 4 and 5-year-old and not have on an 8-piece suit for Easter. You have to stop. A 6-year-old is not a man of God. You have to stop. It's funny how you only see that kind of stuff said about little boys. You never see a little girl, said at 5 years old, I knew she was a woman of God. No, it's always the boys. I knew that I was a prophet at 7. No, you didn't know that. You were not. Okay. All right. And that's just me. That's just me because I've seen a lot. I've experienced a lot. And I can tell you the majority of people feel pressure to be something that they're not and that they don't even want. But because that's what seems to be pleasing and acceptable in their environment, they roll with it and they become their character. And that's how you have men and women in church who are liars, manipulators, and they're shapeshifters. They're shapeshifters. And that's how you have stories to keep coming out about these pastors in church who are predators and abusers, con artists and scammers, because that's who they were at 7 and 9. Okay? They weren't a pastor at 7 and 9. They were a little liar at 7 and 9. They were a manipulator at 7 and 9. Okay? They were a thief at 7 and 9. But you thought putting him on that suit from Burlington was going to make him something different. Y'all ain't ready. So anyway, that's my 2 cents in the start of this deconstruction series. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Drop down in the comment section below. Let me know what your questions are, any other resources you would like me to share, any deconstruction video topics you would like me to cover. What are the deconstructed beliefs that I have concerning certain different uh, principles or practices in religious culture or Christianity, and I will cover those. I will share my deconstructed beliefs. I love that. I think that would be great. I think a lot of people will have some thoughts. It will be thought provoking content. And that's all I want to share. I just want to share a different perspective. I'm not trying to beat anybody down or hurt anyone. I just want to share something that I think a lot of people are looking for right now in this time and in this season. There is a great shifting away from organized religion. People in church are upset about it, but baby, I am grateful and excited for all of the exposure that y'all pastors are getting. Expose them. Woo! Expose them. Because it's high time for people to stop playing on other people's tops in the name of God. All right, if y'all have enjoyed the video, please like it, subscribe to the channel. I would love to add you into my 2 cents crew. Until next time, I'll catch y'all in the next video. Bye.